Hey, what's up, guys? John here. Florida is in massive trouble, specifically Fort Myers and all the damage surrounding Hurricane Ian. Right now, over $30 billion in property damage. $30 billion in property damage. 54 people have lost their lives. I believe that what happened here is going to change property insurance all across the country in areas that they deem as high risk. So think tornadoes, flooding, think windstorms, think hurricanes. All of these situations are going to greatly impact one's ability to get affordable property insurance. Take a look at these pictures here, and it just really highlights how devastating this situation really was. I mean, this is going to be an absolute disaster for all these property owners that are underinsured. They don't have insurance. They didn't have the right insurance. And that's a significant portion of Americans. They simply don't have the right insurance. 2/3 of Americans do not have adequate insurance, right? And 12.8% of homeowner occupied properties don't have any insurance at all, meaning that they are self-insuring properties, meaning that they own the property outright. So let's say, for example, you are one of these properties, and this property here maybe was worth $400,000 on this side, or $500,000 or $600,000. If you have no insurance at all on that property and you owned it outright, that was your nest egg, that was your retirement plan, and then this happened, how much is that $600,000 or $700,000 property worth? It's probably worth $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000, because the land value alone is worth very little. Because if it's very expensive right now to build a property, rising labor costs, rising material costs, maybe they're spending $250, $300 a foot to build as a 2,000 square foot property. I mean, you do the numbers yourself, $600,000 just for the build plus land value, plus they don't know if they're going to be able to get insurance during, or if the new buyer is going to be there, because the market's changing and the buyer's saying, hey, I'm going to be spending an arm and a leg for property insurance in this market. Does it make sense to go spend $1 million for a property? If the answer is no, then a builder is not going to go all in and invest $700,000 or $800,000 and carry that risk for a year and a half or 2 years, not knowing what's going to happen on the other end. So you're going to start to see a lot of these property owners in massive trouble. And as of now, as I mentioned, 1 million still without power in Florida. 54 people have passed. 1 million people have no utilities. 1 million people have no utilities. Hurricane Ian is a reminder for all homeowners to check their insurance for coverage of natural disasters. It's not just natural disasters. You should be checking your coverage for everything right now, because you'll be surprised when you step into a recession or a really tough time economically. People become more sue happy. So someone might break their ankle on your property. They might trip over a rock. A tree may fall over from your yard into the neighbor's yard. A variety of things could occur. You want to make sure you have insurance to cover you for everything. My belief is always to over-insure. It's being, you don't want to be penny smart, dollar stupid, where you're saving $20 a month or $30 a month, but if something happens, you're completely toast. And that's what I think a lot of people have done for a long time, is they just want to, really save as much money as possible, but you're not really saving if one of these situations happens. If you're far from the destruction caused by Hurricane Ian in Florida, you may be thanking your lucky stars that your home wasn't on the storm's path. If you're a homeowner, whether you live in the area prone to hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, hail, wildfires, severe storms, all of which seem to be becoming more prevalent amid warming climate, it's important to know which types of weather-related damage your homeowner's insurance covers excludes a charge of separate, likely higher deductible for. And this is what I think a lot of people are going to get caught off guard for, is this figure. It's worth noting that before Ian made landfall, the home insurance market in Florida was in turmoil due to rampant roof replacement claim schemes and excessive litigation filed by property insurers. Spokesman of the Insurance Information Institute in 2021 said that property insurance in Florida went up 25%, whereas nationally it only went up about 4%. So you're a 21% increase. With a projected property damage loss in excess of $30 billion from Ian, we expect the market to become more unstable. While many weather-related events are covered under the standard part of your policy, some fall under a different section that comes with a separate deductible. If you live in a state along the East Coast or Gulf of Mexico, there's a good chance your policy is hurricane deductible. Likewise, in more states prone to wind-related events, tornadoes, you're likely to have wind deductible. So either way, Those amounts typically range between 1 and 5% with a minimum of $500. Depending on your specifics of your insurance, some homeowners might opt for higher deductibles if available. And they'll opt for a higher deductible because they'll save a little bit more on the monthly. But if that high deductible problem happens, then they have to go out of pocket and write a $25,000 or $50,000 check. Be aware that for those percentages based deductibles, the amount is based on your insured value, not the damage caused. So if your home is insured for $500,000 and you have a 5% hurricane deductible, you'd be responsible for covering your first $25,000 regardless of cost of damage. Also, earthquakes are not covered by standard homeowners policies. Even earthquake-prone California, you'd have to purchase separate insurance, nor typically are other types of earth movement, i.e. landslides and sinkholes. Flooding has become an increasing risk for homeowners. As sea levels rise and storms grow, yet just 15% of homeowners are insured to protect against flood damage. One of the most important policies to consider for hurricane protection that can be overlooked is flood insurance. In Florida, more than 80% of homeowners do not have flood insurance. With catastrophic flood coming from Ian occurring across the state, many homeowners will not have financial protection from these losses. I mean, people are going to lose everything. You're going to, it's going to be unbelievable. Even if the people, let's say, for example, you own a property in Fort Myers and your property is fully insured. You have top insurance. It's a $500,000 property. And you're able to get the entire property back. It doesn't cost you a dime. But what's going to happen is the comps, the comparables in the area are going to be greatly depressed, meaning that the average sale price in your community is going to fall like a rock. And as that happens, if you want to sell your property, it's going to be a massive loss, right? So what I believe is going to happen here is even if people aren't going to take a direct loss, they will be taking a loss if they plan to exit that property in the coming few years. That's why you always want to make sure you have great insurance. You want to make sure that you are not going to put all your eggs in one basket and you're ready for this. I think that we are going to start to see huge investing opportunities coming in Fort Myers. There's no doubt about it. Especially if you want to get like a beachfront property. If you have cash, you're going to start to see a lot of desperate sellers looking to unload those properties. So if you're looking, I'm always a buyer when everybody wants to be a seller, and a seller when everybody wants to be a buyer. And I think in Fort Myers, you're going to start to see a lot of smart money running out there looking to take advantage of that distress. Those homeowners will be able to apply for grants from the Federal Emergency Management Act, but the amount typically covers only part of the homeowner's loss. For instance, after 2017's Hurricane Harvey, which dumped as much as 60 inches of rain in some spots in Texas, the average FEMA grant for individuals was $7,000, while the average claim for the National Flood Insurance was more than $100,000. If you're in a high-risk flood zone, your mortgage lender likely requires you to have flood insurance, yet 1 in 4 flood claims come from homeowners outside of those areas. You can get coverage either through private insurers or through the federal program, which is how most homeowners get a policy. There's an exclusion and limitations on what is covered, however, and others than a few expectation policies, 30 days to become effective. So, I mean, what do you think about this entire situation? It's pretty crazy. The average yearly loss is $985, although that can be very widely. Now, I believe we're going to start to see insurance becoming the biggest problem with property ownership in Florida. No doubt about it. I was talking to a realtor about a week and a half ago. He was trying to get me to buy a property in Florida. I said, there's no way that I'm buying right now. No way I'm buying in Florida. And the reason being isn't the traditional, there's just so much demand in Florida the last couple of years, and now we're going to see prices level out. No, it's going to be that we're going to have a problem with not just property insurance. We're going to have a problem with rising mortgage rates, this affordability crisis. There's so many different things coming to the Florida real estate market that I think we're going to really see a pullback, a really big pullback, and you might be able to get some of those luxury properties for, a fraction of what you would pay for them today in maybe a year or 18 months. We're going to start to see these big changes. But, Fort Myers, you watch. You're going to start to see so many investors run out there and start buying those lots for cheap. They're going to start buying those lots for cheap and really taking advantage of the distress. What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think that this is going to just be forgotten with insurance companies? Do you think that we're going to start to see property owners here, for example, try to rebuild their properties, or do you think they're just going to cut their losses? My bet is that they're going to cut their losses. They're not going to go, let's say, for example, you own one of these properties. You're not going to go rent a property 30 minutes away and then go in every single day while your insurance company is paying for that property for you to rent. Then you're going in every day making sure that you're actually getting your property built correctly and everything's working. You basically turn into your own general contractor. You're not going to do it. I mean, unless it's going to pay for you to do it, you're going to end up making money on it. But I think we're going to see values fall here, no doubt about it, in the short term. We're going to see property owners end up selling their properties for pennies on the dollar, and we are going to see a lot of people leaving this area. What do you think? Drop it below, hit the like button, subscribe here, and subscribe to my second channel. If you need help fixing your credit score, go to Cash Not Out Video. If you'd like to make money from home, working 1 hour a day with me, I'll personally train you, Cash Not Out Video /money, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.